welcome to Make Your Passion Pay. I'm Luann Beekler, creator of the Make Your Passion Pay Playbook, your host and guide on this exciting journey to building joyful and successful work environments. Known as the Little Spark, I've helped countless individuals and businesses ignite their potential through transformational coaching, creating thriving businesses and joyful workplaces. I have experienced the challenges of leaving toxic workplaces and building something better. I bring firsthand wisdom to help you align your work with your values. With insights drawn from working alongside world-renowned leaders and a deep passion for community and connection, I'm here to show you how to lead with joy and purpose. Let's dive into today's episode and start making your passion pay. Welcome to the Make Your Passion Pay podcast. I'm Luann B., the Little Spark, and I'm excited to be here today with Dr. Andy Neillie. I was telling Dr. Andy that I get more and more casual and comfortable with these podcast conversations every day. So we're not reading any bios anymore. Instead, I just want Andy, Dr. Andy, to share with you a little bit about himself and his entrepreneurial experience. We were just chatting about the dogs behind him too, so I'm sure he'll include that in his story.
Well, and as you say, get more casual and comfortable. I am podcasting out of the little den at the front of our house that doubles as a home office at times, and the daybed behind has one of our 15 rescued dogs. My wife and I have rescued 15 dogs over the years. We have a couple of them with us right now, and the black one lying on the daybed behind me, his name is Traveler. He was found running in our daughter's neighborhood, and she rescued him, put him in her backyard, asked us to hold on to him for a couple of days, and he never left. So Traveler, and underfoot, I've got another dog or two. So the fact that you are comfortable being casual and formal, we may have some dogs in the background, and that's kind of fitting because we're gonna have a discussion about passion and entrepreneurship. And while I have my doctorate in leadership and I've written a dissertation and 25,000 pages of research, in some respects, Luann, my passion around leaders leading and not just managing really comes from the lessons that our dogs taught us. And I think I've learned more from rescued, wounded-hearted, neglected, abandoned dogs and how you need to love them well and lead them well than probably any of the dissertation reading I had to do from Harvard Business Review or Gallup or things like that. So quick background, I've been speaking and training for 30 years, but I also am a small business owner. In addition to my speaking consulting, we just closed the sale of 5 local franchise businesses that my wife and I have run for 16 years, where I got to practice the leadership that I talk with other firms about. I had about 175 people working in our organization, 7 managers that reported directly to me. So I am one of the many people that you've influenced over the years, a small business owner myself, although as of a couple of weeks ago, we've exited those businesses. So I'm a successful sale of a small privately held business.
Which is also important information for people to learn about, right?
Yeah, right.
One of the things we talk about is that business owners often fail to think about the exit strategy when they start.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's when you should think about it, is right when you start your business. Yeah. What is your goal and your exit strategy? Is it selling it? Because then there's one approach to how you set it up and make sure it's ready for sale, right? And yours was franchised. What was that? Is that what
That's
you said?
That's right. It was a franchise. So the fun full circle story for us is one of the other franchisees in the network we become good friends with, and they were expanding and asked us if we would consider exiting. And I'm not sure I was as purposeful as you talked about when my wife and I first stepped into it in the early 2000s, but this was the right time for us to exit and move into the next chapter of our life. So it was a great win-win. They took their a bigger network of franchise businesses, add our smaller one to it, and now they've got ambitious growth plans, and I retain a small equity position in their future growth. So I get the best of both worlds.
Oh, excellent. Now tell us, That was a swim school, do I recall
Boy, you have
correctly?
good memory. That's right. Aquatot Swim School, largest network of franchise swim schools globally. I think 15 of them overseas. And Luann, you've asked for kind of my background. I will diverge very quickly. This was not anything I really ever intended to do. Our daughter, who's today in her mid 30s, learned to swim when a young lifeguard showed up in our backyard. And Mr. Ron, the lifeguard, became a dear family friend. And today he's the master franchisor of the
Oh,
largest network of swim schools in the world. And you
wow,
just really
that's
thought, isn't that a
fantastic.
fun family story? It's a close-knit community of friends that have expanded it all over the US and North America and even into Middle East and Southeast Asia and Europe. So it's been fun.
Well, I took good notes when we talked before. I did not remember that it was the world's largest franchise for swim schools. Is there one in Minnesota?
There's several of them. Egan, I can't remember. We've got 180 of them globally. I think there's two or
That's a
three
lot.
in the Twin Cities area, but I'm not quite sure. I'm in Central Texas, so we had 5 of them in San Antonio, Austin, and the Dallas area. So
Right, and really a reminder to the audience that I'm in Minnesota, which is why I'm asking about those
yeah,
locations. But now I'll have to look them up. I have a 2.5-year-old granddaughter and another 2-month-old little granddaughter. So they're getting closer
great
to.
ages. Yep, great ages to get them water acclimated.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So and the sale had just completed on those.
Yeah, just in the last 60 days. And the whole irony of it, Luann, you and I are recording shortly after the government shutdown reopened, but the SBA loans that we used to fund these, the SBA website is closed right now. So I received the payment for them, but I can't pay off the loans until the website reopens. So right now I look like I have a bunch of money, but it's all gonna go to paying off these beautiful indoor year-round child-friendly swim school facilities that are a pretty expensive endeavor.
I'll bet they are. I'll bet they are. So you must have been running your consulting business at the same time you were finishing up your work with the swim schools.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how long have you been doing leadership
yeah.
consulting?
So for more than 30 years now, I've been doing that. I got my doctorate in 2008, but even before that, I'd been doing training and coaching. I'm just really passionate. I had a bad boss early on in my career. My faith is really important to me. I'm reading in the Gospels about this wonderful servant leader, and then I'm going to work for a guy who had anger management issues,
Mm,
and that was one of the many things that just kind of awakened in me. This is not the way it's supposed to be, and so that really began my journey more than 30 years ago. Of what makes a manager worthy to be called a leader as well. And so you and I've talked a little bit. I think it's a simple construct. I call it the 4 leadership necessities. Simple doesn't mean easy, but as I've looked at people that I would consider good leaders globally now, because I've got 5 million frequent flyer miles from doing this all over the world. The ones that are the best leaders, they're working on 4 different areas to grow in. Now, you never arrive as a leader. It's a comma rather than a period. It's a journey you're on. But if you are working in growing in conviction, growing in competence, making sure you're bringing rich character to your leadership positions, and you've got a covenant with the people you serve, those four leadership necessities, I can look somebody now and say, you're working at becoming a high achieving leader, not just the manager of a group of people. So I've been thinking about it for a long time.
yeah. And I think that's a really key point, is management and being a manager and being a leader are different things.
Yeah.
And what I find in the work that I do with small business owners is a lot of them are in the manager realm
Yeah.
rather than the leader realm. And so I too am working with them to move to that next level of
Yeah.
being a leader of the organization instead of just managing the day to day. Well, managing the mess, I say, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they're stuck in the mess of it all, that really is all it feels like. And guess what? That causes the stress, anxiety, right?
Yeah.
right? Just
Well, and you still have to do that. That's why I'm always careful saying leadership and management are not necessarily two different things, but the managers that you're talking about that you and I deal with so often, they have to recognize that simply managing the mess doesn't mean I'm leading well. I've
right.
got to fight to get my eyes up. It's not just about getting through my 300 emails that come in every day or checking off the task list for my team. It really is about getting your eyes up, being a boss that people choose to work for during a time when the workplace is rich in choice for employees. There are things that the best leaders I work with demonstrate consistently that set them apart from simply managers.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And as my audience knows, right, in the Make Your Passion Pay playbook, we have 6 C's, none of which are the 4 C's that you just said, which is so fun. But mine are clarity, connection, community, collaboration, creativity, and commitment. And that's all of the components I believe they need to have to actually monetize their passions. But being that leader is also a key piece of it. So I love those 4 qualities that you have as necessities to being a good leader. And in fact, as you said, covenant this time, it seems to me that covenant would come around a set of core values
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how
And
we
even,
agree to
yeah.
work together, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's a great insight that you have there. The problem with too many businesses, they put core values up on the wall, they have a strategic plan, and they publish it and republish it once a year, and it's in the HR manual. But a leader who's living in covenant applies those core values in ways where their team members can look and say, he meant that. She was really being honest when she said that. It's that balance between I'm going to hold you formally responsible for your job duties. We've got a P&L we have to be responsible to. We've got sales goals. We've got production deadlines. Whatever the formal side of that leadership is, but then there's also the personal side of caring for your people. Simon Sinek wrote that book, Leaders Eat Last. What was that, Luann? Probably 20 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And the whole point was that leaders are there to serve their team members. And so, I remember the story of the retail manager who paid a employee their bonus twice because the employee gave their bonus away and impulsively and said it was the leader's fault that he mistakenly gave his bonus away. And so the leader said, well, no, it's not my fault. But I will treat you with more grace than you deserve. And so that's what leaders do. I think you and I talked during our prior conversation a little bit. Leaders need to recognize they're at the bottom of the pyramid, not at the top of the pyramid. And even in the smaller businesses that you and I serve at times, you've got 3, 7, 11, 15 employees. Your primarily job is to make them more successful, not to make yourself more successful.
I absolutely love that so much, right? So when you look at the pyramid this way, I mean, I talk about core values being the foundation, but the leader has to set the example of that, and then it should flow up, right? And many of the small business owners I work with fail that they skip that step of creating the core values. And then, like you said, they might even have created them, but they put them on the wall or stick them in a drawer and they're not actually living them every day. I called a gentleman I knew for 20 years and was asking him how his business was going and said, tell me about your core values. And he said, well, let me find them and then I can tell you about them. And I'm like, no. If you, as the owner and CEO of your company, are unable to articulate your core values, to me, off the top of your head, you're not using them correctly.
Yeah.
Right?
Great. Yeah. And, the interesting thing about that is the core values get translated to team members, not by me having that, that onboarding day where I meet with that new employee and they sit with me for 30 minutes and I go over the core values. That may be part of my process, but where they really get owned by the team is when they see you demonstrating core values and they see you rewarding other people for demonstrating core values. That's
Right.
the key, right? Leadership is caught rather than taught.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I was at a conference called CultureCon, and one of the presenters talked about how you should do your recognition in your company based on recognizing people who are doing things in alignment with the core values.
It's a great insight. Yeah.
And then when they are recognized for doing things in alignment with the core values, they will do them more. And just the same, if we fail to recognize them for doing good things in alignment with the core values, they will stop doing them.
Interesting.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so recognition there raises the level to me of the importance of recognition in your company, but purposeful recognition.
Tying it back to your core values.
Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
exactly.
Beautiful. I was at our swim school's annual owners forum just a couple of weeks ago, just as we were exiting the businesses. They had their annual owners forum, and they did that very thing. There's a woman that is part of one of the schools in Arizona, and she saw a video of a father trying to teach his son who had spinal bifida how to be safe in and around the water. And she was so touched by that video, she reached out to that family. That family lived in the Dallas area. She was from Arizona, but because this is a big network, she coordinated to work with the aquatics manager at Aquatots in the Dallas area. She actually flew in, spent a week with this father and child, got them some basic water safety protocol training, even for a child with some disabilities, and then turned this beautiful young child over to that school. Nobody ever had anything to do with where's the revenue cycle from any of this. It was just the right thing to do. And she ended up being recognized in front of all 180 franchise owners at our owners forum, because that's exactly what you're talking about. That's the type of thing that wakes people up in the morning and say, man, I'm going to go to work. This is a hard job, but it means something.
It means something. Absolutely. And that is the key. Kelly Global Workforce did a study that says 51% of employees want more meaning in their work, even would sacrifice status and pay to have more meaning in their work is more important. So I often talk about the why generation. It's not the letter Y, it's the word why. Why am I doing this? What is it going to do to help make life better for people or for our world or what have you? And that's the up and coming leaders need to be in tune with that and helping their employees understand their own why for why they're doing the work that they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Patrick Lencioni in his book, The Advantage, has a quote. I can't remember it exactly, but it's pretty similar to that Kelly study you just cited. He said, employees will always appreciate a pay raise, but what they really long for is recognition and the satisfaction of a job well done. That's not the exact quote, but it's the same point that you were talking about. It. Of course, I'll take a $1.25 an hour raise,
right?
But the reason I get up and come to work when it's hard is because my company values me.
Yeah, so important.
The why. Good point.
Yeah. So important. I also heard once that Nordstrom's has a one-page employee manual, and it says, do the next right thing. Do the next right thing in alignment with our core values, and we will back you every time. Which to me just elevates the importance of those core values. We say they're a decision-making tool. In the passion test work that we do, the key to living a passionate life is whenever you're faced with a choice, a decision, or an opportunity, consistently choose in favor of your passions. and those core values is the same way. So it empowers your employees with a set of values to make their decisions on behalf of the company.
Yeah. That's that young gal in Arizona
Yeah.
practicing the core value, relationship over profit. Here's a family that I want us to serve. And it crossed state lines and never had anything to do with money, but it touched everybody.
So that was one of your core values for the swim schools, relationship over profit.
Yeah, relationship over profit. Yeah.
That is excellent. Do you have the other ones to share with us?
You bet. Submit to strengths and protect weaknesses. Seek first to understand before being understood. Extend grace to the teachable. I mean, there's 7 core values all together, but they are the types of core values you were just alluding to as you talked about your passion piece, where it's if you put people first, people will remember that. And of course, you and I both know your listeners, we still don't live in a perfect world, right?
Right.
And the retail businesses we own, there were times where I ran into a Karen who had a huge sense of indignation. And, I could have turned the keys of the kingdom over to this person and done everything, written a formal apology, gone on the local news station and paid them to have their child come and swim with us. And it wouldn't have been enough, right?
Right.
We just live in a world where everybody thinks they've all been wronged. And so sometimes it's painful to live by the types of values you're talking about. But at the end of the day, you can't make it about their response. You have to make it about what you believe is the right thing to do.
Right. But I think that the values also back us up in those situations, right? In our customers understanding us and the values that we carry, right? And they're attractors. They're attractors to like-minded people to participate in our organizations.
Yeah. And I've had, when my managers made hard decisions and had customers that were disappointed, they've had other customers come alongside and say, hey, I overheard that conversation. You were right. Thank you for being so gracious. It's unfortunate. And so, there's still a modicum of resident goodness in most people. And you just have to appeal to that, I think.
And the more of us that step into that, give grace and appeal to that and take care of people, right? We can make a shift in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of my passion around. I want to talk to people of influence about, are they using their influence well? That's, the tagline on our little business. We turn managers into leaders. If you have a voice of influence, you should be using your voice well to make the people who report to you, the people around you, the customers you serve, better for the time they spent with you and your organization.
That's so excellent.
Yeah. Good
What
stuff.
other one quality or tip would you like to share with managers to become leaders that they should focus on?
I think one of them is we just have to recognize one of the defining observable behaviors of a leader is they're the ones that get pulled into the hard conversations. Managers handle all the easy conversations. Leaders get the hard conversations. So I would say to this person in a position of authority, are you having to deal with the hard things? That probably means people view you as a leader. Unfortunately for you, the better you handle hard conversations, the more you're recognized as a leader. Leaders lean into hard conversations. They're not afraid to identify the elephant in the room. They're not afraid to apologize and own responsibility, but they're also not afraid to hold other people accountable. Managers get the easy conversations. Leaders get the hard conversations.
What a great point, right?
Horrible great point, right?
And to be able to think about that as an individual of authority is, am I being a leader? Am I leaning into those conversations? And if I am, what else do I need to do to sharpen my saw, as it were, right? To be a strong leader for my people. Right?
Am I brave enough to do the harder thing? That's part of what probably separates a leader from a manager is leaning into those things that, the truth of the matter is, most of us don't want to do, right? But that's what distinguishes a leader.
Excellent. So again, the 4 leadership necessities. Conviction, growing in conviction, you said?
Getting your eyes up. It's not just about your part of the plant floor. It's seeing the entire production cycle or whatever it is you're responsible for. Yeah.
Competence.
Yep. Got to make your people better at what they do. Part of your job and my job, if we're leading a team, is to make sure they have the tools, the resources, help them execute. Your competence is measured by their ability to execute. Yeah.
So we're helping them build competence,
Yeah.
but as leaders, we need to build competence ourselves.
Exactly right.
As well.
Yeah, and that's where I think it might come back and tie in with your 6 C's, because part of it's got to be my communication ability, my conviction that allows me to have people that want to follow me.
Follow me.
Leadership competence. Yeah.
Yeah, a leader has to have people who want to follow them, which speaks to character.
That's
which
right.
is number 3.
Yeah, Stephen Covey said 30 years ago at this point, people join organizations for the job. They leave because of the people. And so, are you fair-minded, honest, other-oriented? Do you view yourself here at the bottom of the pyramid rather than here at the top? Those are all those character traits. The Leadership Challenge, this book, it's like in its 7th publishing cycle now. It's been published. They do the same study. They've done it for more than 30 years. And it's not a study of leaders. It's a series of questions that they ask followers. Why would you choose to follow someone? And character traits, honesty, fair-mindedness, these things that really make you a better person are also
right.
what makes you a better leader.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And then the covenant, where we spent most of our time around a set of core values and what we all agree to and strive for. Yes, so well. So Dr. Andy, where can my audience get more from you and more of your good work in the world?
Well, if they want to grab a 15-minute phone call, if they go to my website, Neillie Leadership, Neillie Leadership, there's just a link on the top of my website. I'd be glad to pick anybody's brain, have them pick my brain for 15 minutes. The other thing is, you and I've talked some about the importance of communication. I have an ebook on the 3 imperative leadership conversations: the hard conversation that we've already talked about, the coaching conversation for development, and the 3-fold affirmation conversation. And that ebook is available at leadershipmaterials.com. It's a little 8-page downloadable ebook that will give them some understanding, a couple of worksheets, leadershipmaterials.com.
And did you say 8 pages?
Yeah, it's an 8-page ebook. So anybody
I love
can read
it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a fast read.
It is a fast read, and it's very practical. Here's 13 best practices for holding a hard conversation. Here's a 8-question page to help you prepare for the next hard conversation. Same thing with coaching. So I just tried to make it super practical. I'm not an overly sophisticated guy. I may have a doctorate and a dissertation, but remember, I learned most of what I learned from rescued dogs. It's all pretty simple.
I love that. Well, Dr. Andy, it's been a pleasure having you on the Make Your Passion Pay podcast today. And yes, I think that you need to be a leader to really profit in a passion-based business. And we want that for you. So both Dr. Andy and I can help you with that to make your passion pay and be an outstanding leader in your field. Thank you, Dr. Andy, and we'll hope to see you again.
Thank you. Pleasure being with you.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to Make Your Passion Pay. If today's episode inspired you, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a rating, and share your thoughts in a review. Every listener makes a difference in spreading this mission of joy and purpose. Want to take the next step? Share this episode with your friends, colleagues, or anyone looking to build a thriving, values-driven workplace. Together, we can create communities where passion fuels success. Until next time, remember, when you lead with joy, you inspire greatness. Let's keep making your passion pay.